So we got another episode of upcoming mods for Fallout 4, and before we kind of jump into this video, I want to give myself a little bit of a shout out. Tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time is going to be Bethesda's E3 conference. We're going to see some new games, we're going to see a full reveal to Fallout 76, and I'm going to be live streaming it right here on YouTube. So if you guys do want to tune into that, you can just subscribe or just check out this channel at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow. I'll probably start streaming a little bit before the show and then do a post stream and analyze whatever gets revealed. That's the end of the showing though. With that, we can just jump into the video. So first and foremost, we actually have another update to the Tomacuzi 9. What this is going to be is a new work in progress mod by Axis, and in reality it's kind of a crossover between the Thompson, the Tech 9, and the Uzi, or at least that's my interpretation. It seems like it's going to be somewhat of a more small project compared to some of his other mods. I mean, his other one that he's working on is like an entire pack of weapons, so obviously it's smaller than that. But I love the look of this. It has a handmade style and vibe. It looks like someone kind of threw this together with pieces from just whatever they were finding around. You could obviously see a water bottle at the end. If that doesn't characterize makeshift, I don't know what does. Makeshift things and SMGs are probably the two scarcest things in Fallout 4 weapon modding, so getting this into the game is going to be very magical. It's something that I've been talking about for months and months, and I'm really happy to see us finally seeing somewhat of a shift. Look at another update to the Cross Mojave Manhunter. This is going to be the next work in progress mod by Nero, and he actually has said that he's trying to do one complete mod each month, and it's definitely showing. He's been producing a ton of high quality content over the past few months and just really bringing a lot of stuff for us to download. Most of his new releases haven't been uninstalled since I've originally downloaded them. So this mod was actually part of a contest. So if you go on the ArtStation challenge page, or at least this ArtStation challenges page, you can actually see a ton of additional work in progress pictures throughout all the different stages. I'm only showing you a small subset of those, so if you do want to check them out, I will have a link down below. Either way, as you can see, this thing is looking awesome. It's meant to be inspired by kind of the New Vegas aesthetic or vibe from that game, obviously not being a recreation of anything from that game, just kind of copying the overall feel. And something else that is mentioned, if you actually look at the eyes on that mask, they are going to be a heartbeat sensor that can see through walls and different obstacles, so that's going to be pretty interesting. I'm curious to see how it's going to be working in game. There's been a few mods that have actually attempted to do this in the past, and some of them actually did it to quite a bit of success, other ones not so much. Then we get another update to a mod that I haven't shown you in a long time, that with the Synthbody. What this is going to be is more or less seemingly augmentations you can make to your standard player character that were robotic. And from these screenshots, you can see it looks absolutely amazing. I just think it looks really freaking cool, and it's something I want in my Fallout 4. Robotic prosthetics is something we've seen in a few other mods, and even just throughout the Commonwealth, but something that actually adds in like a way to augment your character with different trade-offs, costs, and of course benefits hasn't really come out as a mod thus far. There's a few mods that are like outfit or armor mods and just happen to have a robotic limb built in, but nothing quite like this that would hopefully be usable with certain other mods. Either way, again, it looks amazing. The pictures largely speak for themselves, and I'm very excited to see future updates on this one. So we have what looks like it's going to be a new, simple, but interesting weapon from the Rizzler. He titled the image set the Weeb gun, but in reality, it's going to be the Varista. It's apparently from an old game that was available on consoles a while ago. And yeah, it definitely looks pretty cool. It doesn't look distinctively Fallout, but it kind of has almost like a 10mm pistol vibe, I feel like, on it, or like a modified 10mm pistol. Like, it doesn't look super out of place in the Fallout universe. And in addition, I just think all around it looks quite cool. It looks like it's going to be kind of a revolver of some sort, of course, being an energy revolver. And yeah, I like it. He says when he actually wraps it up, we will get a release of it, so hopefully in the next few months. So this is one I've been following personally, but I haven't actually put into the series until obviously right now. That's going to be the Gallants gun. So this is some of the early work in progress ones. This is actually from over a month ago, and the final work in progress that will be a few images down does look absolutely amazing. But either way, what this mod author is trying to do is kind of overhaul some of the weapons in Fallout 4 and make them look like what weapons would look like in the apocalypse if you had to make them yourself. I wanted to show you these images all at once because I think it's pretty interesting to see how the process works when creating these things, and I just gotta say, you hear me all the time saying, oh, I want more makeshift things in Fallout 4. This is exactly what I mean when I say that. This is exactly the type of content I want in my Fallout. Even if from a technical standpoint, things like this aren't necessarily practical or possible, I just think it fits the vibe of the game so well, and that final product looks amazing. In addition, it's a machine pistol, which just gets me even more excited for it. I find those to be a ton of fun to use, almost like a guilty pleasure of sorts. They're not super practical and you burn through a lot of ammo, but it's just fun to spray things. Then we got a new armor from Newer Mind 43, and that's going to be the Medic Battle Suit. So this one looks pretty interesting. Obviously, it's going to be a work in progress, and it looks fairly simple, kind of has a similar vibe to some of his other armors, but one thing that really stands out to me as looking quite nice is the mask on this. I don't know why, but in Fallout 4, I feel like whenever you use a mask of some sort, it just makes your overall character or whatever armor they're wearing look even cooler. Obviously, the mask has to be fitting. If it's bright pink and you're wearing a dark and doomy thing, that wouldn't fit. But on this armor, I think I really like it. It's called the Medic Battle Suit. I don't really see what's indicating that this is a medic, so hopefully that'll be something that's kind of added as a detail, or maybe when the texture work is done, we'll see some medic logos. But either way, it looks cool, and I want to keep you guys up to date with it. So last but not least, we have the amazing looking GP5 gas mask. So this is going to be by Truly BRITSY, and it's going to be a standalone mod, I believe, but largely it's probably going to be used in tandem when it is released and merged with gas masks of the Wasteland. So this is going to be like one of those gas masks that you've probably seen in movies, TV shows. It's kind of what you think of, like the schema you have for a gas mask, and I love it. Obviously, these image sets are doing it a lot of justice, but again, just look at this character. Imagine this character without a gas mask. It would look cool, but not nearly as cool as it does with a gas mask. I really like the take on the different customization options. Like there's a bunch of different textures on there that I feel like not many people have really done that, and I think it looks really cool and it meshes with a bunch of different things quite well. I mean, yeah, it's just a simple gas mask, but I'm pretty hyped for this one. I think it looks really badass, and I love the added functionality where you have to use this thing with gas masks of the Wasteland. That's pretty much going to wrap it up for this video, but before we end things off, let's actually talk about today's psych fun fact of the day. You've probably heard about dopamine. It's one of the most commonly talked about neurotransmitters, especially with mental health. Neurotransmitters will make your neurons do stuff in your brain. That's like the simplest way to describe them. Think of it similar to gas in a car. So a lot of people think of dopamine as far as pleasure. So you think if you pump your head full of dopamine, you're going to be on this awesome high and just feel amazing all of the time. Well, that's not actually how dopamine works. And although yes, it kind of does pertain to pleasure, not in the way you probably assume. I learned about this in one of my classes recently, and more or less dopamine controls your go and stop pathways, which in effect controls what you're motivated or not motivated to do. So you ever get that thing where, like, let's say you got a package and you know exactly what the package was, you just ordered it and you know you're going to open it and not use it because you don't need it right now, but you just have this incessant need to get that package open. There's like a huge rush of excitement, like you're a small child again. I don't know, maybe I'm just projecting, but yeah, that happens to me all the time. Well, that's going to be all due to dopamine. More or less, when you actually see that you got this package, you're going to have dopamine release in your head, or your brain more specifically, and that's going to activate your go pathway, and you're going to be extremely motivated to go and open that package. Now on the flip side, let's say there's something you don't want to do, your homework, your dopamine isn't really motivated to go do that, so it's not going to activate, and your stop pathway will be dominant there. Now I'm greatly oversimplifying this by saying activated and not activated. The go and stop pathway has inhibition, disinhibition, excitation, and there's just a lot of factors going on there. It's very complex, but dopamine does play a fundamental role in this, and one of the proxies of this, if you've ever seen things like obesity or anorexia, two flip sides of almost the same coin, people with obesity have had problems with their go pathways. It tells them to go too often. People with anorexia have too much issues with their stop pathways or go pathways in like the wrong ways. It's one of those processes that actually has a massive impact on your life, and it's pretty interesting to learn about. So if you want to read on it, you can obviously look it up, dopamine, go stop pathway. And yeah, it's pretty much gonna wrap it up for this one. As always, I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.